neighbors against each other by unleashing thousands of untrained, unaccountable, masked ICE agents in the towns, in the streets of Minnesota, creating two justice systems, one for those who can pay to play and one for those who...
Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chuck. It has truly been a year since Donald Trump has come in. I think we all feel like it's been a lot longer than that. As Chuck noted, costs are up, chaos is up, corruption is up. No one maybe understands that more than our state in the last few months. He has spent his first year in office dividing people, catering to the wealthy and making life harder for everyone else, pitting neighbors against each other by unleashing thousands of untrained, unaccountable, masked ICE agents in the towns, in the streets of Minnesota, creating two justice systems, one for those who can pay to play and one for those who can't. We've seen this firsthand. That Hmong elder that got dragged out of his house after his door got rammed through, what was he supposed to do at that moment? They throw him in a car in his underwear and they found out they got the wrong guy after driving him around for an hour. Or the small business owners hit by these tariffs. My guest to the State of the Union tonight is a brewer from Moorhead, Minnesota, right up near the Canadian border. He's been walloped by these tariffs, and can barely stay in business. Those are the people that are having to be the roadkill for all of these policies that really don't put the American people first. They put Donald Trump first. Trump knows his agenda is unpopular. That's why I'm sure he'll go there with much bluster tonight to the House floor. But what I know is that he's afraid of four things. Number one, he's afraid of the voters. He's afraid of the voters in the midterms. Look at what's happened in these elections, whether it's the Virginia's governor's race, whether it's the legislative race in Texas, whether it's mayor's races from Miami to Omaha. Number two, he's afraid of the word affordability. He's called it a hoax and actually said he wanted to keep housing prices up. Number three, and I didn't see this one coming, it's not on my Wordle guest list, but he is afraid of the word court, C-O-U-R-T, the Supreme Court. And I will note, I didn't think that I'd have the hottest ticket in town, but sitting behind the Supreme Court while Donald Trump looks down on them will be interesting tonight. Number four, he's afraid of the people of Minnesota. Why? Because like so many people across this country, they stood up 50,000 strong in a peaceful march in below zero weather. They stood up and helped strangers get food and help their neighbors and help kids get to school. So while he enriches himself at Americans' expense, and the Republicans, sadly, in Congress rubber stamp his divisive agenda, Democrats are fighting to bring down costs, end the chaos, and fight corruption.
In just a few pointed minutes, Senator Amy Klobuchar stood before the cameras and delivered a blunt indictment. Costs are up, chaos is up, corruption is up. It was not a complicated argument. It was not wrapped in legal jargon or policy nuance. It was direct. And then came the line that cut through the political theater of Washington. He's afraid of the voters. That moment, simple, declarative, unmistakable, crystallized the tension surrounding this year's State of the Union. According to Klobuchar, President Donald Trump enters that chamber not as a leader riding a wave of consensus, but as a man confronting growing discontent. She framed the past year not as a triumph of governance, but as a season of division, neighbors set against neighbors, communities shaken by enforcement actions, small business owners squeezed by tariffs, and a widening sense that the system no longer operates evenly for all. Her words painted a stark image. Unaccountable masked ICE agents in Minnesota towns, doors rammed open, confusion unfolding in real time. A man taken from his home, later revealed to be the wrong person. A brewer near the Canadian border, struggling under the weight of tariffs. These were not abstract policy debates. They were stories, faces, consequences. And in that framing lies the deeper question of power. Government authority, at its core, rests on legitimacy, the consent of the governed. When enforcement feels arbitrary, when economic policy feels punitive, when everyday citizens feel like collateral damage in a larger political battle, trust erodes. Klobuchar's critique was not merely about policy disagreements. It was about the moral architecture of leadership. Who benefits? Who bears the burden? Who gets heard? She accused the administration of creating two justice systems, one for those who can pay to play and one for those who can't. That phrase carries weight in American political history. The promise of equal justice under law is etched above the Supreme Court. It is foundational to the national identity. To suggest that the promise is cracking is to suggest something far more serious than partisan dispute. It is to question the fairness of the system itself. And then came the list. 4 fears. Afraid of the voters, afraid of affordability, afraid of the court, afraid of the people of Minnesota. Each one reveals something different. Fear of voters speaks to accountability. Midterm elections loom as a referendum. History shows that elections often become a corrective mechanism when the public senses imbalance. Klobuchar pointed to races across the country, governors, legislators, mayors, as evidence of shifting winds. Fear of affordability speaks to the most basic political reality: kitchen table economics, housing costs, grocery bills, the price of energy. When citizens feel squeezed, political rhetoric rings hollow. Affordability is not ideology. It is lived experience. Fear of the court points to institutional friction. The judiciary stands as a constitutional counterweight. The image she invoked, sitting behind the Supreme Court as the president addresses Congress, underscores the layered structure of American governance. Power is not meant to flow unchecked. It is meant to be challenged, reviewed, interpreted. And finally, fear of the people themselves. 50,000 Minnesotans marching in below-zero weather. Peaceful, determined, helping strangers. That image stands in contrast to the chaos she described. It suggests resilience, civic solidarity. A reminder that political movements do not originate solely in Washington. They begin in towns, neighborhoods, frozen streets, where citizens decide to show up. Whether one agrees with Klobuchar's assessment or not, the exchange reveals something deeper about this political moment. The State of the Union is not merely a speech, it is a ritual. A stage where competing narratives collide. One side speaks of strength and progress. The other speaks of strain and inequity. Between them stands the American public, weighing claims against lived reality. In a democracy, disagreement is not weakness. It is evidence of participation. But participation demands clarity. It demands scrutiny. It demands that leaders of any party be examined not only for what they promise, but for what unfolds on the ground. Klobuchar's remarks frame this administration as one that prioritizes loyalty over fairness, spectacle over stability. Supporters of the president would undoubtedly reject that characterization. And therein lies the tension of our time. 2 sharply different interpretations of the same events. But one principle remains constant: accountability. Elections test it, courts enforce it, citizens demand it. And when a senator stands before the cameras and declares that a president is afraid of the voters, she's not merely delivering a partisan jab, she is invoking the foundational idea that ultimate authority does not reside in the Oval Office. It resides with the people. The coming months will determine which narrative resonates. Will voters reward the current direction, or will they seek correction? Will economic pressure ease? Will institutional battles intensify? These are not rhetorical questions. They are the fault lines shaping the next chapter of American politics. Moments like this, sharp exchanges, forceful accusations, vivid imagery, are not noise. They are signals. They reveal the strain within the system. They test its durability. Because in the end, the strength of a republic is measured not by the volume of applause in a chamber, but by the confidence of its citizens outside of it. Power must answer to principle. Leadership must answer to law. And every administration, regardless of party, must answer to the voters. That is the design. That is the promise. And that is why scrutiny matters. Stay informed, stay engaged, and subscribe to Liberty Report USA as we continue to examine the moments that define our democracy and the leaders who shape it.